Everybody, this is AJ Copeland and this is Topics to Go. This topic is, you a hoe? Are you a whore? However way you want to talk about it. There's three types of whores, all right? One, that's the person that has whorish ways. Two, there's an individual that became a whore or mistaken to be a whore by accident. And then three, you just a plain old whore, a hoe. So let's just break it down one by one. Okay, number one, a person that is have whorish ways is somebody that dresses a certain kind of way, talks a certain kind of way, and acts a certain kind of way. But when it come down to you actually getting them in the bedroom, that ain't happening. They just like to tease and joke around sexually. And also they like to start rumors and gossip and make promises that they don't keep when it comes to interactions they have with men or women. All right? So that's an individual that got whorish ways, I'm sorry. Then you have what you call a whore by accident. A whore by accident is somebody that was dating and they took an individual at their word, that this person was serious and that they were trying to take it to another level. And so they feel as though, well, if I give them some, then that means, we good. That means they're going to be serious with me because I gave them some. So a lot of them feel like sex is the door opener to relationship. And they feel like, well, if I give them sex, I get a relationship. That's a whore by accident. Then you have the number one, the whore. Now, a whore is somebody that has no boundaries. This individual doesn't care anything about connections or boundaries. They will sleep with your friend, your coworker, your family member, your neighbor, whomever they can get. Their body count is very high. Now, in any three of these situations, especially number two, you can also have a high body count, but not necessarily be perceived as a whore like the third person I mentioned, because you are perceived to be a whore by accident because the trust that you had in somebody else that let you down. Now, let's talk about this for a moment. When somebody is a whore, male or female, they have no emotional connection. There's no emotional connection. They're just doing what they like doing. They like variety. And they seek out variety. They like different types of individuals. And so they seek to lay with these different types of individuals. Now, is this a good thing? Not always. Another thing about a whore is that most of the time they don't use protection because they're just in the moment. They just get wild, The minute they're in a situation where it involves sex or foreplay, they don't think. They just do what they feel. That's a whore. And they don't care anything about the connections. They don't care that that might be your brother or your sister. They don't care that might be your coworker or somebody that you're close to. And then they travel. A whore likes to travel. Whether it be from city to city, or whether it be from house to house, or apartment from apartment. They like to travel. Now, a lot of people have been perceived as whores by mistake. And that's the number two thing that I mentioned. Is that a lot of times people are called whores, and they're not really whores at all. They're just searching for love and compassion and somebody to care about them and somebody to be concerned about them. And in doing that, they become very vulnerable, and then they wrestle with insecurity issues. And somebody that take note of that weakness would take advantage of that. And so they find themselves sleeping with that person. And then after they have slept with that person kick them to the curb. But they don't stop the pattern. They get back up and they go searching again for that perfect somebody that will love them. And so it becomes an appearance as though they're a whore because the body count begins to go high only because they're searching for somebody to love them. So that's what I call being perceived as a whore by accident. Those that have whorish ways, well, as I stated, this is somebody that, you may walk out and this girl, she walking in the street with Daisy Dukes on, showing her ass. That doesn't necessarily mean that she's saying, come and get it. And that's what a lot of fellas messed up at, They think just because a girl dressed provocative and she's showing her body, she's showing her tits, she's showing her butt, that means that, hey, you can come and get it. That means that you can have sex with me. That means I'm a whore. And anybody want it, they can have it. That's not always the case. Don't get me wrong, some whores do dress that way. But there are some individuals that just have whorish ways. And they're not trying to have sex with anybody. They just want attention. They do it because they want attention. And that's why they dress in that way. So the next time you call somebody a whore, keep these 3 things in mind. Because you know what? The very person that you're judging may not be a whore at all. And before we call somebody a whore, we need to examine our own selves and ask yourself this one question. What's your body count? I'm AJ Copeland, and this is Topics to Go. Later.